Bracken, I hope you aren't still underwater.
Why, top of the hello, top of the bonjour.
Thursday? Is it Thursday today?
I believe it is Thursday.
Oh, excellent.
Hello, happy Thursday. AI Jesus is also going to wish you a happy Thursday because, you know, we're close with AI Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
We talk on a semi-regular
AI
basis.
Jebus, happy Thursday.
Thank you, AI Jebus. Thank you for coming through there. How is things in the England area?
Yes, are you still underwater?
Is it the England area?
The
No.
England area?
The British?
Well, I mean, she is in England.
What?
England is like English people are British.
That's a bunch of cockshire. It's a bunch of cockshire, if you ask me. We have frozen water.
Mm-hmm.
It did snow a petite more yesterday, just a petite.
Yeah.
We're still very underwater. Gosh diddly darn. You know, you guys, the only thing that'll make that better, Bracken, is probably getting to see how cute Jinjee is. Probably it. And look how cute that cat is.
We also saw Carl multiple times already this morning. Gave him a good feeding.
To you.
Yeah.
Carl came to get his food.
Last night he was so, I don't know, he was so sweet, but it's so sad.
Yeah.
The way he meows, it's just like,
he's not there.
it's the saddest meow.
He goes, like, he's like, so do you know that
I can't even
I know
do it,
you know, but how animals mimic the sounds of babies crying to get people to be like, oh my God, like, it's a crying baby, I need to help it. I don't know if Carl's been exposed to a human baby before, but he definitely knows how to make the pathetic screams of something help me.
Not screams, but like sounds.
Yeah. It's like, please, you've given me $38 of wet food in the past 2 days. I need more.
Yeah.
And you're like, like, we're honestly, it is probably going to get to a point where it's cheaper to buy him canned salmon or canned tuna than fucking cat food.
No, probably not.
Well, I mean, it's pretty close, though.
Well, no, the canned salmon is like way more expensive than the price of canned cat food.
It's pretty close. Sometimes they have deals on it.
Well, no, the canned cat food is usually like, it runs usually between like $1.10 to $1.60 per can, depending what the sale is at this moment in time. The cans of fish, like actual canned seafood, are always at least $2.50 a can.
I've never been much for buying canned seafood.
No, me neither.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
But I look at it every once in a while because I enjoy crab rangoons, and you need canned crab for that.
Yeah,
so.
my brother and his wife would make tuna salad sandwiches, and I mean it was okay. I'm not big with that, but a lot of green onion and pepper kind of makes it a bit more, and maybe some celery makes it a little bit more.
Maybe it's just because I've had a cat my entire life, pretty much. So whenever I smell canned fish, I do smell cat food, and it grosses me out.
Yeah.
It grosses me out a lot, and I can't do it.
I've gotten a lot better with wet cat food. I remember before I couldn't even like look at it.
Yeah.
It was just like goo in a container. I'm not a tuna person, but I'll eat tin salmon.
Yeah, I'll do the canned crab in like cheese ball or crab rangoon. Same with, I guess, canned shrimp. Like my mom has, like when she makes her cheese ball, you can use either canned shrimp or canned crab. I do prefer the canned crab. The shrimp is also just a little too cat foody for me. It has to, I just also, like I've said earlier, as a highly landlocked person, I really struggle with seafood. Struggle a lot with seafood.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
I mean, I like fish and chips.
I do like sushi though, so that's weird. But
yeah, I like artificial crab.
Yeah, imitation crab, which I think is pollock. That they like dye red. That stuff's good.
What she say? What she say? One day we're gonna have to You might break.
I did used to really enjoy eating salmon fillets. Like I used to eat a lot of salmon, like frozen salmon fillets. But then, I guess also, I've gotten like too weirded out by mercury poisoning. Yeah, and stuff like just things that are in the seafood that like I don't really even eat sushi anymore, which I used to really enjoy eating sushi just because I've gotten like a touch of the weirds in my head a bit.
A touch of the odds.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know fish is a staple for most people's diet, but I don't know. I just doesn't really, when I think I'm like really hungry and stuff, I'm not like, you know what? I could go for some fish.
I do enjoy like deep fried shrimp.
I do like fish and chips.
Yeah, fish and chips is good.
But for me, like the fish that I've caught in my life are fry fish. You don't really use them for anything. It's like, you know, like pike and walleye and stuff like that. I mean, you can do other things with it, but I don't know. You fry it.
Freshwater fish is.
It depends, I guess. We're not, I don't even know if our fish live in freshwater. They live in winter runoff. That's what basically all our water is melted snow that just every year is replenished with more melted snow.
Deep fried baby octopus is one of my favorite things. I will say
deep fried baby.
So when I lived in Lethbridge, there used to be this. It might still exist. I don't know. There's this restaurant called Chow Mein, and it's like Italian chow, like see you later chow, and then Maine, like chow mein, and it was an Italian and Chinese restaurant run by a Chinese couple, and they made the best fried pepper squid I've ever had. It was like deep fried battered deep fried squid, and then like they would serve it with like slices of like bell pepper. Oh, it was so good. I don't know. I've never really been a squid person. Like I've never really enjoyed squid, but like that. Oh, if we were in Lethbridge, I would say we need to go to Chow Mein and I need to get some peppers. I think it was lemon pepper squid because it would also like serve it with a wedge of lemon that you could squeeze over it.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It's definitely a North American thing to call a restaurant Chow Mein, I'm sure.
Yeah. But like I said, it was like Italian chow, see you later.
Oh,
chow.
There's these people we watch on YouTube, Pasta Grammar.
Yeah.
She's Italian and he is from Rhode Island.
Yeah.
And her name's Ava and she says ciao. So it's ciao Ava.
It was the weirdest little restaurant. Like, you couldn't sit down. It was order only. Like, you could pick up or get delivered. And yeah, it was like Italian chow, and then main. And they served like for the Italian food, you could get like pasta or pizza type things. And then like all the different types of Chinese food you could ever imagine. And like I said, it was run by like a Chinese couple. So I think they just probably served the Italian food, like the pasta or the pizza and stuff, because it was a university town and they knew they'd make bank on that.
Yeah, and we're an odd peoples, you know. We like to in the prairies here. We like to, I don't know, put things together that might not necessarily work.
I would just love to know like an actual Italian person's opinion on it, like
on like Alphagetti.
Chow mein. Like, what the fuck is this?
Honestly,
but it was so good.
The only thing that I've learned from watching that Pasta Grammar channel is most of the time what she's upset with is using a word that's theirs to describe something else. Like, oh, this is like a pizza. She's like, it's not like a fucking pizza.
She's like, it might be like a calzone.
Yeah, but if you were like, it's like bread and sauce and cheese, they'd be like, oh yeah, it's like bread, sauce, and cheese. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of find it a funny thing. Yeah. Just don't call things what they call them, and you'll be fine. Our Chinese friend runs a fish and chip shop, but they sell most delicious deep fried ribs.
I love deep fried ribs.
That is a common thing around here as well.
At the Chinese restaurants, the deep fried ribs that they have, so good. There's also this in Saskatoon. It used to be called Tante Maria's, but I think they've changed it now to Auntie Maria's. But it's a Mennonite restaurant. They serve like Mennonite food. And it was recently bought by a Chinese couple as well. So now they on top of the Mennonite food, they also have like a Chinese menu. But they make the best summer borscht I've ever had. It is so good. It's basically like a creamy potato soup with chunks of like farmer sausage in it. Oh, so good.
Yeah, so it used to be Tante Maria's. And then I'm pretty confident. Oh,
they've changed it to just Auntie Maria's.
Yeah, they changed it to Auntie Jane's. They had basically what they did before is they just changed the T to an A.
Yeah.
Or no, they took the T off and it was
they changed Tante, which is the Mennonite word for like aunt, to like aunt, like Aunt Maria's.
I know, like, so my cousin...
Which, I mean, makes more sense. You're not Mennonite. Why would you keep the name Tante Maria's?
My cousin's wife is from the Philippines, and I know actually as a, what do you call it? Respectful term, they call each other auntie and uncle all the time. And even if you're not actually somebody's auntie, you're their auntie.
It's kind of like a term of respect,
endearment or whatever. Yeah. So
acknowledgement of like you being an elder.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
The funny thing is though is that they kept certain things on the menu and not other things, right? Like the things that are supremely like Ukrainian or German,
Mennonite,
or Mennonite.
I'm so glad they kept the Zama borscht though.
Zama.
Fucking love Zama borscht. And then so my favorite meal to get there was Zama borscht and then like some pierogies. It was the most unhealthy meal ever. It was so good. Oh yeah, no, usually I'd get like a small order of the Zama borscht and then some pierogies and then some extra sausage. So it was so incredibly unhealthy, but it was just so fucking good.
Those are the things. I was watching a thing yesterday. I think you had fallen asleep for a short nap about why white people don't season their food.
Oh no, I was awake during that. It's just that we don't use enough salt.
Yeah, it was interesting. Just basically how they looked at the map and they were like, yes, the spice routes were like over here. And all of these white people were up in the cold and nobody brought them spices.
I like to think that I use a proper amount of salt in our food.
I'm really bad for knowing. I guess my brain goes salt. Bad for my heart. Just because that's just...
You do need a certain amount of salt.
Yeah, my dad and my grandpa have high blood pressure and stuff. And it's like, well, how can I not do that?
You need to just not be like my father, where when you went to the movies and you got popcorn and you say, "Can I have extra popcorn salt?" And then they look at you like, "Are you serious?" And then you say, "Yes, can you give me a little cup of extra popcorn salt?" And then they do that. I mean, this shit is good. But I remember eating my dad's popcorn as a child, and when I was done, your mouth would be like a fucking butthole.
I wonder, so I've actually purchased, this is the stuff
it's so good,
that is used in North American theaters. It's called Flavacol, and it is like salt beyond salt. I wonder if it has
supply iodine, a necessary nutrient.
Yeah, okay, so this one does have it. So per 1 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon of this is 114% of your daily sodium.
So yeah, my dad would like put at least probably at least a tablespoon of this shit on top of his like popcorn.
I used to have a little. Oh no, that's a snow. Oh, they do snow cones too.
Oh.
Snow cones are awesome. Do you guys know?
Like, no fucking wonder my dad died of a heart attack. Holy shit!
And they do cotton candy. Well, smoke some. Hello, cryo. You don't be smoking this. Oh, I can't believe they even zoom in on this.
Yeah. Just so you know, 114%.
So if you consume 2,000 calories in a day, 1 teaspoon of this stuff will set you over.
I mean, 1 teaspoon of regular salt is 100% of your daily salt.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because a quarter of a teaspoon is 25%.
Wow.
So it's only 14% higher.
It's only for a moment, the moment's gone.
3.5% higher per like teaspoon or quarter teaspoon.
Frickin' Flavacol for a better tasting popcorn.
420 Blaze it. Hey, Mark.
Hi.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. So we are probably going to get into a little bit of the asshole. Oh, wait, who was that? Listen.
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
Dude, we should probably
just clip "Oh, hi, Mark," so that whenever.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Whenever Mark.
No, you gotta leave. I did not hit her.
I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
If you've never seen that movie...
I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I did not.
If you've never watched that movie...
You should.
I don't even know how to describe it. The man's been classified as like a genius unintentionally.
No.
No?
No.
Like, it's like, in a sense of like, it's so bad it's good.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean he's genius.
Yeah.
Same with like Troll 2.
Lord of the Rings, lo-fi beats?
Troll 2 is also one of the greatest, worst movies ever made.
Yeah, I'm going to click on that. But I am excited to watch this later. This is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And he is an incredible bassist. Yes, he does look like an ex-heroin addict. But he is a talented individual.
Wouldn't that be an accurate description of
most
his
of the Chili
experience,
Peppers? Yeah. Literally every part of the Red Hot Chili Peppers except for the drummer was addicted to heroin at some point. If not multiple times. Okay, I gotta click on this. I don't even know what
beats, lo-fi.
No, it's not just regular lo-fi beats.
LOTR beats?
Fellowship of the Lord of the Rings.
I mean, sure.
I mean, yeah. I do like this pixelized Gandalf
that's sweet.
Hobbit thing. That's pretty sick. Jinjee, you want to say hi to the peeps before we read about some humans being ding-dongs?
I should describe the Am I the Asshole I read this morning that made us be like, oh, we should read some Am I the Assholes today. So I was reading this one, Am I the Asshole? This lady's at her nephew's nephew, niece's, I can't remember which it was. Either way, her sister's child's first birthday. And they got this child one of those smash cakes. Now, I've never personally been to a birthday party where a child has a smash cake. Thank God, because
I mean, I've seen kids smash their face into cakes.
Oh yeah, I mean, what kid also doesn't want to? But anyway, so I'm gonna put this down.
Yes.
They get this smash cake for this 1-year-old. They bring it out, and like the sister thought that they were gonna be getting them like a small smash cake, like the size of like an oversized cupcake. But no, they bring out like a full size cake for this child to smash. And so then the kid starts smashing it. And then after mid-smash, mom starts taking servings out of smash cake to give to the family members that are there. And she goes to give a serving to like the sister, and the sister's like, no fucking way, that's gross, I'm not eating that. And sister's super offended that she used the word gross. How dare you use the word gross? We're all family here. And so then I guess in a conversation later, the sister let her know how disappointed she was in her for not eating the smash cake because they're all family and like blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't know. No, I'm not going to fucking eat that shit.
So,
it has baby spit in it. First off, I'm sorry. Your baby, you might think your baby's cute. I see your baby as a fucking germ factory. I don't want to be anywhere near your fucking baby. I am so sorry. On top of that, I don't want to eat cake that your baby put its fucking gross ass body in. End of rant.
Yeah, and it like, so obviously we don't have children. I've mentioned this to my brother and sister and stuff like that. Like, you know, your parents used to do that, like lick your thumb or lick something and wipe your face and shit.
When the kid doesn't finish their food and there's leftover fucking half-eaten bits of food and then the parent eats it.
But in fairness, a lot of people I've worked with said, basically when you have kids, you stop making yourself a plate and you just eat what they don't eat. And I was like, you know, I mean, you get used to it, I'm sure.
No.
Just like cleaning dirty diapers, you know, you'd get used to it. I'm sure. You know what I mean? But
this is how I'm becoming slowly aware that I'm a germaphobe. Like I feel like
no one should eat
physical
this.
repulsion inside of me.
There's 90% chance that under these fingernails there is some type of excrement or sorts. So this cake shouldn't be eaten by people afterwards.
Not at all.
But I mean, the one thing I will say, when I was younger, this happened unintentionally. So at least they are planning for it now. You know, like you'd make a cake for a kid and they'd destroy it and then it's like, okay, I guess there's no cake. But one thing to watch out for when all this kind of stuff was happening and people were like smashing other people's heads into cakes and stuff, you have to watch out for cake supports.
Yeah. Toothpicks. Don't want to think about it. We'll just leave it at that. Moving on. Plot twist, the cake is excrement.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen a meme that's pretty funny. Someone puts 2 Barbies on top of a chocolate cake wrestling. It's, you know.
Do you remember when that person pied Jean Chrétien and they wrote Prime Minister on the bottom of the pie? That person did go to jail for a brief period of time. But that was a funny moment in Canadian history. Prime Minister.
Oh, yes.
Jean Chrétien.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jean Chrétien. Okay, so how do we want to sort this? Do we want to go with new or tops or hot? New top hots.
Let's do top of the week.
Top of the morning to ya.
Top of the morning. Oh, that reminds me. We watched a video this morning about how people in Ireland loved to used to get high off ether back in the day.
Because the UK
it was like, no alcohol for you.
Yeah, Britain
was like, no alcohol for you. So then Ireland was like, fine, fuck you, we'll get high on ether. And then England was like, no ether for you. And then they're like, fine, we'll make whiskey.
Yeah. And that's why Irish whiskey became so prolific. Do you want to read the first one or do you want me to read the first one?
You can read the first one because I have cat cuddles right now.
You know what? I'm gonna go with this one. We're gonna check its length. It's a nice length there. I'll bring the microphone in. Am I the asshole for going through my friend's closet to find my wedding dress? 2 years ago, my husband and I were doing some renovations to our house. I didn't want my wedding dress to get damaged or lost in the process, which, considering we did lose a few things during the renovation, I was right to be concerned. My friend offered to keep it in her closet until the renovations were done. How do you lose a wedding dress during renovations?
Like stuff falling from,
or like setting it in like a box and forgetting it,
or maybe like you tear something open and like water falls ceiling.
Oh yeah,
like there could be a number of things that could happen.
After we finished the renovations, I asked my friend for the dress back. She kept saying she'd get back to me. I kept asking and she'd make up excuses. I found it weird. Now my sister is getting married and she wanted to wear the dress. This was our mother's dress and we always agreed we'd each wear it. I told my friend I need it back. She claimed she couldn't find it. I was perplexed because how does it just get up and walk away? She apologized and offered to pay me the cost of the dress, which I turned down because it wasn't about money. The dress was sentimental and I felt terrible my sister couldn't wear it. So the first question is...
Obviously the friend's lying.
Yeah, is the friend trying to like keep it and wear it?
Yeah, why would you do that?
My friend and her husband went away. I was there to water their plants and feed their dogs. I decided to go look myself. The closet was very cluttered. I eventually found the dress. I can totally believe that she missed where it was and wasn't being malicious in the slightest. The box was tucked behind a few larger ones containing seasonal clothes. It's a weird, if your friend asks you to keep your dress, that's kind of a weird place to put it too, isn't it? You think you just hang it in the closet.
Well, I mean, unless it was already in the box, like, which it might have already been in a box, do you think you would kind of like keep mental note, at the very least, like, okay, this is here?
Yeah. I text her saying I found the dress. Instead of being happy for me, she asked why I rummaged through her closet. I said I just wanted to double check. She told me I had no right to go through her things. I said that because of her clutter, my sister almost didn't get to wear the dress she always dreamed of. My friend told me that I could have asked her to look again, but I pointed out it took 2 years for her to even look in the first place. Am I the asshole?
No.
So I would say no. There is a couple things to it in a sense, though, that like she maybe should have said, you know, I know it probably just dawned upon her, I'm going to water plants, I might as well check while I'm here, but you probably shouldn't go through people's like dressers or closets.
Oh yeah, no,
or, you know what I mean?
It is definitely an invasion of that person's privacy, but I'm a bit of a snoopy bitch. And here's the thing. You have something of mine that I know you fucking have. You've given me the permission to be in your house. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Actually, the very first comment is interesting. They say, I would have just taken it and never told her. Let her think she lost her mind. So, it's interesting to say if you just took it and never brought it up again. Noticed? Would she have ever noticed? Yeah. But you obviously probably moved clutter A onto clutter B, and you were like, she'll notice something.
Like, there's a good chance, like, this one person says maybe she's a hoarder. And so, like, if there's a chance that she's a hoarder and she did just kind of stuff it in the closet and didn't notice it, like she said, like, the way the clutter was in the closet, it could have very easily not been malicious.
And the other thing I'm curious about is the degree of friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's obviously close enough that she trusts her to be in the house alone to water her plants and take care of her dogs.
Yeah, but I mean, some people just trust their neighbors to do that stuff, right? That are acquaintances that you assume are normal. But I would say, I don't know, take your dress and say, sorry, friendship's over. 2 years is an interesting thing.
Yeah, that too.
I would like to know how many times they meant to talk to them in 2 years. Like, because if, say, I have a lot of friends, if I said, hey, do you have that thing of mine that I could see something like this taking 2 hours, if I forgot to let them know and they forgot to let me know. And
Mark says if she found their S&M gear by accident, probably not mention it.
So that's actually when I said you probably should be going through drawers and closets, is we all know people only to the degree that they let us know them. So if she opened that closet and there was like a shrine of dragon fist dildos, that would severely alter your perception.
But you know, maybe it's also good to know, because then you can be like, I don't really know if I want to be friends with this person.
Yeah, I guess. But like, I guess that's the thing, right? So I don't know. Privacy is something that some people hold in significantly higher regard than others.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, you should.
But also at the same time, I don't think if like if it was, it's hard to say because they let her in the house like unaccompanied to take care of the house, right? So. I mean, sometimes maybe that means checking each room to make sure no water damage has happened while they're away on holiday, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think she's an asshole.
No, I think that obviously if you wanted it,
especially after 2 years.
I mean, honestly, if my family member needed it and they were like, I'll try and check for it, I would show up at their house and be like, we're looking for this fucking dress.
And especially because we don't know the conversation under which it was given to her. So say maybe she's like, hey, we're doing renovations at our house right now. Can I store this wedding dress at your house while the renovations are going on? And then maybe the friend was like, yeah, absolutely. I'll just stick it in my closet. I know it'll be safe there. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like that could have been said.
It could very well be not malicious at all.
Yeah.
It just like, whatever, life gets in the way. But I would say if somebody has something
breach of Jagoff trust.
I would say if somebody has something that's yours, you've given them ample time to look for it and give it back to you. Eventually, I don't know. I think I may have might have offered to show up when they were home, as and like I'll help look for it.
But do you think she would have let her if after 2 years she made like zero fucking effort to try to look for it? I don't know.
I would have actually probably just fucking taken it.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, I grabbed my dress out of your closet. And she'd be like, why'd you go in my closet? And I'd be like, fuck off.
Like, and especially because it's something that has like deep sentimental value too, right? So it's not just like it's not just a random thing. It's something that can't be replaced in the family.
Yeah. The one thing about these Am I the Assholes, we run into a ton of wedding-oriented ones.
Oh, yeah.
The first 3 are actually about weddings. So, I mean, that in itself might be a learning,
Yeah.
I
don't know if I want to read wedding shit.
Fourth one's
not about weddings, so we'll go.
Oh, it's an interesting one.
Oh, and it's nice and short.
Let's go. Shift F2.
Am I the asshole for telling my wife that my son will always come before her? I'm 32 male and wife is 30 female, is concerned over our financial situation. I think her concern is misplaced, but I told her my income isn't going to change anytime soon, so I asked her what we wanted to do about it. She suggested that when my son, she is his stepmother, turns 18, we should start charging him rent. I immediately shut down that idea and told her we would have to think of something else because there's no way I'm charging my son to live in our house. She said it was reasonable since I was paying most of his college tuition, but I told her there are alternatives. I suggested we stop eating out so much because it's $50 to $100 per meal, but she didn't like that idea. I suggested other things which she rejected, so I told her I'm open to suggestions, but my son isn't going to be our first source of income. She told me I should think more of her than my son. That made me a little mad, so I told her my son will always come before her. She called me an asshole after that and hasn't talked to me since. Did I get over? No, not at all.
So the first thing from reading the title, I was basically like, yeah, this has got to be a stepmother situation. Yeah, this...
He's right. His child shouldn't be the first source of income.
Well, the other thing that, like, a lot of people refuse to acknowledge that life isn't completely about their situation, right? Times change for everybody. It was hard for our great grandparents. It was hard for us. Things change, circumstances. you cannot, if you make him pay at 18 to supplement a lot of the bills when they don't have a job, it's just going to push them farther into debt to when they won't be able to move out.
So
you know what I mean?
Once again, I don't have children, but if I were to get, obviously I won't because I'm married, but if I were to get in a relationship with somebody who had a child, I would go into that relationship understanding that child comes first to that person.
Yeah, and eventually they're going to say to me, don't tell me what to do. Yeah. You're not my dad.
I'm a cat mom. That's as far as I can relate. But if I met somebody who like I said I couldn't have a cat because they were allergic, I would be like, so sorry, I'm not going to date you. Or like if my cat really, really hated somebody for some particular reason, whatever that was, and they were a huge asshole to my cat, it would be a no-go. And like that's not even comparable because it's a fucking cat compared to somebody's child. I just happen to consider this cat my child.
It's true.
So I don't know.
It's freaking true. Mr. Levity coming in to see our fur child. Look at this little boy. Look at that little boy.
Yeah.
He's been doing this thing a lot more recently when he lays where he reaches out to touch you while he's laying.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, I own this spot of the couch, but you also can't move because, I'm using you as support. So, how are you, Mr. Lev? We were just talking about if a stepmother has the right to say, when your son turns 18...
we should charge him rent.
We should charge him rent. The only circumstance in which I would take that, there are certain things in, like, say, the son has, this is, again, just making up a whole bunch of ifs. If they require a faster internet because they have a PS5 in the game, well, that you
can help pay for that.
Yeah, or your food. Yeah. Like if you eat like a monster, because like I knew someone who lived with their parents who did a lot of working out. And their parents basically said, I'm not buying you chicken breasts so you can eat them all in one day.
Like, I think there's, like, some things that are kind of reasonable here. So I know, like, a lot of people, their rule is basically, while you're in school, I'm not going to charge you any rent. But if you're working full-time and you're living here, I can understand, like, helping with the bills, helping with the groceries, especially, like a 19-year-old boy is going to eat a shitload of food. So if you're like, working and you're not in school, you're just working and you're living at home, you should maybe be helping to pay for some of the groceries, like things that are like, I think I can understand things that are reasonable expectations of your child, especially if it's preparing them for adulthood. But basically, if you're like, well, he's 18 now, he should be paying us rent. That's, I don't know, like, especially if they don't have a job, if they're in school, don't charge, like, obviously that, like,
things are different.
Yeah,
too.
Things are very different nowadays. So,
in the sense of, like, one of the reasons they may never be able to afford to have a house is because they're constantly paying rent.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard to save money when you have to give it all, which I know the thing is, we think we know what will create a good member of society.
Yeah.
Like if you ask 50 people from an older generation, what do you think creates a good person? You probably get 40 different answers. Yeah. Because some will say they need to go through like pain and suffering to be appreciative. Some will say they don't deserve to go through pain and suffering. Some will say, I want them to have a better life than I had. Now that I've procreated, my job is to take care of them. You know what I mean? It's difficult.
It kind of, so this morning I was watching this one TikTok, and it's not that I have TikTok. It came up on my Facebook feed. I was watching a TikTok on my Facebook just to confirm my old person status. Okay. All right. So I was watching this TikTok on Facebook, and this one young woman recently graduated from college or whatever, was talking about how now that she's entered like the workforce, working 9 to 5, she has like no time for herself. Like she has to commute because like the city that she works in is too expensive to live in. So it's at least a 1 hour commute into work. So she needs to leave the house by like 7 a.m. And then earliest she gets home is like 6:15. And she's like, I just have like no time for myself. I don't have time to make food or eat food or like go to the gym or like be in a relationship with anybody. And she's like, you know, I felt bad for her because she's crying. And like, I would say she's definitely no older than 21. And then people in the comments are very split. Either people are like, welcome to life, honey, fucking suck it up, deal with it. Or people are understandably very empathetic because, quite honestly, the situation we've created through capitalism is fucking ruining society. And the people who are sitting there just shitting on her have this like survivorship bias that are like, I've made it through it, so you have to fucking suck this shit up too. And it's just like, no, like there is no work-life balance anymore. Like, I just think about the fact that medieval peasants had more fucking days off than like modern people do in the workforce. And it's disheartening.
Well, I mean, for me, like, we know our existence is different than most because of my disabilities, but as someone who's disabled, when my back really first started to give out, it was kind of the first time I had everything slowed down enough for me to go, well, if I can't lift heavy things, why the fuck am I here? Yeah. Like, if I can't do customer support because I can't sit in a chair, what's my value? Yeah, why? What does a person do on Earth without this? And we've been watching a lot of stuff, obviously, that a lot of people think because it's been this way for so long, it's the only way it can be. And some systems will, you know, maybe you start with bartering or trading effort for food, and then eventually it all comes to capitalism. But it wasn't like that for many cultures, and it still necessarily isn't. It's only when
people are making these observations about capitalism and human nature within the system of capitalism. So of course that's going to like skew your perspective.
It's tough. I mean, we've said this a million times. Like, a solution isn't great because most people will probably die from hunger in order for us to get to Star Trek Future. I mean, I don't know. But basically, we were watching a lot of this architectural person. We were talking about it yesterday, and they were talking about basically the challenges of Mars and setting up Mars. And the only thing I could think of is, why? So we can fuck it up and then just leapfrog to the next one and fuck it up and just keep fucking things up? Like, when is it that humans go, wait, we've come pretty far. Let's just take stock of what we've done, relax a little bit, and maybe next year we don't have to make as much profits as we did this year. Because now, it's funny because Google just announced lower earnings this year than they had expected. And because they announced lower earnings, literally everybody else has low earnings. Meta has low earnings. Apple has low earnings. Samsung has low earnings. They all have low earnings because people are like, whoa, so what do you mean this iPhone's not different than the last iPhone? I'm not buying it now. Mm-hmm. It took like 20 years from the early 2000s for a lot of people to go, I don't need to buy anything else because this still works as good as the new one. It's just not as much money. And now all of the systems that were put in place to keep everything moving forward and shareholders getting money is changing. And
we were watching something about the Unabomber the other day. It's like, God damn, Ted Kaczynski. Yeah. If you didn't fucking Unabomb people,
if he didn't,
you had some good fucking ideas.
If he literally didn't have the stupidest idea on how to change the system.
Yeah, on how to
He did actually accurately.
Made some really good fucking points.
Yeah, he accurately depicted a lot of things about AI and economics and social services and stuff, but his idea of mailing explosives
how to execute
was just
the plan
absolutely fucking dumb.
He had good ideas and bad ideas, absolutely. Yeah. Good ideas, bad execution.
Yeah, like
worst execution ever.
I honestly don't know. For being such an intelligent person, like they said, he skipped like 3 grades, graduated university at like 16.
Well, it's because they MK Ultra'd his head in university.
But then I don't know how you come up with that idea.
My boy.
Okay, no more Ted Kaczynski, my boy. There's all. What I said is.
I didn't realize he just died like last year.
Yeah, he could. We didn't either. This thing we watched
He, like,
the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
Day after my birthday, hung himself in his cell.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I said is I was surprised that with the intelligence that he had, he wasn't able to realize when something...
That mailing bombs to people was not a good idea?
Well, like, there's a part of life outside of your reach of change for everybody.
Yeah.
And, like, accepting that is part of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It just seems weird. He think like his idea of how I don't even know how that was going to change anything. Even if he killed everybody that would possibly go on to work on aerospace or like in that time frame, more people would have just come.
Yeah, because also one of the first people that he wanted to try to kill was the therapist or whatever that he went and spoke to. Because so he actually there was a period of time where he was convinced that he was a transgender woman. So he'd gone to therapy, and like he was in the office about to meet with the therapist about transitioning. And while he was there, he ultimately just like became like super disgusted with all of it, and like disgusted with himself for even thinking about this, and then like left, and his anger was focused on wanting to kill the therapist that he was there to meet.
Yeah, and apparently that changed his perception on doing bad things.
Yeah.
I just don't, like I said, I don't fucking understand how that was going to fix anything ever.
But like I said, I think it all came down to he was like MK'd Ultra during university. He was super fucked in the head.
I mean, I don't know all the history about a lot of stuff, but I know like they fucked with Charles Manson's brain. You know, like a lot of people who went on to do terrible things at some point were involved, or, you know what I mean? The CIA or someone kind of got in there a little bit. Yeah. Even, I think, and I apologize if this is incorrect, I believe there's significant ties to Osama bin Laden from the U.S. military system.
They trained him.
Yeah, they trained him, and then he went rogue or whatever. You know, like, all that shit happens all the fucking time. I was on a flight to Spain when my kids were quite young. The hostess gave out inflatable toy planes to them. Kids the stupid heart thing was in the way.
Kids turned to me and asked, "Daddy, can you please blow up the plane?"
Shit! That's like a joke that...
That was like, I remember shortly after 9/11, my grandmother, like this old Mennonite woman, was like cracking jokes about taking box cutters on planes, and we're just like, Grandma!
Yeah.
Where did that come from? That was dark.
Honestly, everything I see about airplanes now is like people trying to one-up each other and assholery. People just taking dumps all over the place, and I don't even know. I don't want to fly anytime soon. Oh, holy shit, it's beef.
It's beef supreme.
Beef supreme. Dad, wait, Nate, beef supreme's in the house. Okay. We're going to learn if this person's an asshole for kicking their 72-year-old mother-in-law out of the house last night.
Hey, Nate.
Hi, Nathan.
It was so funny. We were looking at pictures of Cass's wedding yesterday, and Evan's like, "Do you know who these people are?" I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Nate." And I was like, "Oh, I think is that Nate's wife?" And then we like had a moment, and Evan's like, "I can't remember her name." And I was like, Salami.
And then I was like, "Oh yeah, Tony Baloney, Tony Salami, Salami, and Nate."
Yeah. That's all. I was like, Salami.
Yeah, it was. We were watching something about. It was about remembering something memnotically.
Yeah.
And what you have to do is turn it into a ridiculous phrase you'll never forget. But yeah, it looked like you guys had a great time. It was lovely to see all those nice pictures. So I'm a 36-year-old female, believe it or not. And my husband
Did I write this?
is a 41-year-old male. I have a decent relationship with my mother-in-law compared to a lot of horror stories I hear from friends. She's quite sweet and warm. She is, however, a little over-controlling, overprotective. I'm not sure the exact word, but she has very strong ideas about things and no sense of boundaries. For example, when she stays at our house, she takes over the kitchen completely and insists on cooking all of our meals. She cooks wonderfully, but she won't let me help her at all. And she puts everything away in the wrong place and then insists that her way is more logical. She only really comes for holidays though, and I do like her a lot, so I don't mind putting up with these mild annoyances. I'm currently pregnant with our little girl, who will be born in a few months. This is a miracle. I really didn't think it would happen, especially so late, but we got lucky when my mother-in-law heard, she was super excited and she said she would come over to help us get ready for the baby. She offered to stay for the next 6 months or so to help because my husband and I both work long hours and it will be hard to handle the baby on top of this. She is also pretty emotionally invested in this because she truly sees herself as part of our family. She arrived a few days ago, set herself up, and she started with the cleaning. So the first thing I'll say is
6 months is too long.
I know that not all places have maternity leave.
Yeah.
But they should. Like, you know what I mean? I do know like help for 6 months or whatever would be great, but like basically she's indicating like she's got to go to work shortly after having the baby, right? Because she works long hours,
America,
which sucks. I like collecting things from garage sales and such. Things like little sculptures and books in baskets. Stuff a lot of people would consider utter junk. Our house is definitely overstuffed, but it's reasonably tidy and doesn't seem like a hoarder's house or anything.
At least she thinks to her perspective.
Yeah, like, I mean, we all know people who got trinkets everywhere, and you think to yourself, I would hate having to dust all of that.
Like, I've been in people's houses that have a lot of stuff. It's well organized, and they wouldn't technically be considered hoarders, but it is too much fucking shit everywhere.
My house... Oh, wait, the house is definitely overstuffed, but it is tidy. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, likes everything surgically clean. Yesterday, I came home from work to find the house like a war zone. She went through my cabinets and cleared out everything she considered junk, and had apparently made her several trips to Goodwill before I got home.
Yeah, that's not
I was
fair.
really angry, and I asked her why she would ever do this. She said, the house has to be tidy for the baby, and that it would be dangerous for the baby to be in my cluttered house. Then she took the next huge bag of stuff and tried to walk out the door. I kind of lost it, and I told her she could get out right now. She was shocked that I was serious, and she said she doesn't have anywhere to go because it's so late. It was about 9:30. I booked her a hotel room and called a taxi. My husband came home an hour later, and when I told him what happened, he was furious with me. He says I disrespected his mom and was ungrateful for everything she was trying to do for us. Am I the asshole?
Well, I will also say the woman probably also has pregnancy hormones on top of, like, because she's pregnant, which would make her have probably a more emotional response to what was going on. You don't fuck with people's shit. End of story. You might think it's cluttered, but you don't donate people's stuff to Free Will without
I mean, I guess
them.
she could go get some of it back. She just have to buy it again.
I mean,
I know
that's not fair. Like, for all the episodes of Hoarders we've ever watched, they don't just throw out their shit. Because you see, like, the emotional reactions that, like, hoarders have to, like, their stuff, right?
Honestly, it's
Even though
so
it's
hard to
fucking garbage.
watch. They, like, hand them, like, an empty chocolate bar wrapper, and they're like, oh, well, I might need that. And you just want their kid to just slap them in the face and be like, you do not need this.
Yeah.
It is a mental disorder.
Like, And this is just simply because we downsized so much stuff when we got out here. So it is hard for me to understand wanting to have so much clutter and like trinkets and shit in your house, because I just don't see the need for it. But it is her stuff. It's not the mother-in-law's stuff. It's not the mother-in-law's house. The mother-in-law also invited herself to be there for 6 months. And sometimes, like, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? And
last time you brought up hormones, you got eviscerated. I mean, hormones are real.
They are real. Oh, and absolutely. Yeah, like being pregnant makes you way more emotional than you would be like normally. Yeah. So, yeah, the woman's going to have an emotional reaction to her mother-in-law throwing it out and donating her shit.
Well, the very first comment is an interesting look. We kind of touched on it. So it says, not the asshole, but you may want to consider why she did that. Your house may actually be cluttered with junk and she was helping. I, of course, don't have photos of your house in its previous state, but what she did do is an asshole move.
That is what I said at the beginning. She might not have interpreted her house as cluttered, but like other people coming in might not necessarily feel that way.
Oh, shit. This is the original poster. Okay, I'm going to give y'all a list of my junk and you can decide if I'm a hoarder. A walk-in closet with a lot of thrifted clothes, some that I alter myself, 4 quilts, an antique wooden desk with a typewriter, admittedly just taking up space, a lot of wall art, none of it matches, which my mother-in-law hates, but it's all hung properly and intentionally. 2 shelves of fancy china in the dining room, which I'm never going to use, but again, it's displayed purposely. A coin collection in a Ziploc bags in my closet, 2 ugly end tables, several rugs from garage sales that are in use, not just rolled up in a corner, 2 bookcases of books. You never have too many books. And fine, books lying around on the coffee table, kitchen table, and couch. A few shelves in said bookcase, houseplants, a lot of throw pillars that don't match, a tree sculpture with Christmas ornaments and pictures hung on it, lamps on it. It sounds gaudy.
It sounds like there's a lot of shit here.
A geode collection, a spice rack with little spice bottles, too many dishes. If it fits in two kitchen cabinets, so normal house things. What she gave away: box of books, a bunch of paintings, some pillows, dishes, a whole drawer of rocks. So
I'd be pretty pissed off about the rocks.
Yeah,
rocks are expensive, and I have a rock collection, so I'd be not too pleased about
fall apart. That it was a your kid's gonna get hurt thing when they're pillows and paintings on walls and shit, right?
That shit, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've just always been the type of person, like, I suck at buying gifts for people because I'm like, hey, would you like this?
Yeah. Would you like some random stuff?
So, like, to think about going into someone's house and just throwing away their shit, or being like, you know what? They don't need this. I just could never. But there are mothers, like, this mother-in-law seems like she grew up with this thing in her brain that everything she did was the right way to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's wrong from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I would say, I don't know about kicking out a 72-year-old woman like that. Like, if your mom came to stay with us and at nighttime, I was like, you know what? I don't want to sleep on this. I don't want, get the fuck out of here. And I'm going to make you sit in the foyer for a half an hour waiting for the taxi and try and not make this awkward.
But yeah, like Mark said, decluttering should have started with conversation and willing concessions. Absolutely.
Part of me, this sounds bad, but because the husband reacted with my mom's trying to help us, I feel like he probably
said something that
there's a lot of shit.
Probably.
And he probably said, when she's at work, get rid of the shit.
I wouldn't be so pissed off if you threw some of this shit out, Mom.
It'll be so much easier to deal with her being upset than to keep this garbage. So I do understand that.
And, like, while she was trying to make a concise list, as she's still listing it off, I'm like, this is still a lot of stuff.
Yeah, like...
That's a lot of stuff.
I don't...
But like I said, we have a skewed perspective, because we have, like... We live in a 10-foot by 10-foot shed, and we have the amount of stuff to reflect that.
Yeah, and we really evaluated what Like, what is the point of keeping China dishes you will literally never use? Do you think your kids are going to want them?
Yeah.
No, they're going to say, why do you still have these?
I mean, I can understand, because I still have my mom's china, and I have it in storage. No. I got rid of some china. It's emotionally kind of hard getting rid of family china. I can understand that. I can definitely understand that. Not only was it at one point definitely a financial investment, it is beautiful. And then there's that thought, well, maybe I'll have like a fancy dinner sometime and we can eat off of it. I mean, mind you, living out here, that's never going to happen for us. I kept the fancy silverware for my grandma. Yeah. So we like...
I mean, it's silver.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So like, fall of civilization, it still has purpose because I can melt down my Oneida sex cult silverware and use it for money.
Yeah.
There's also neat historical stories behind it, but the fact is Oneida and is made by a sex cult, so that's kind of...
2 sets of fancy china from 20 grandparents and grandparents. They are in totes and because nobody has that many people over for supper anymore. Nobody knows the rules on where to place.
No one needs 5 gravy boats.
You don't need we have 3 special pie servers. It's like, just fucking use a fork. But it's
Where are you going?
Oh, I just have to go outside for a moment.
Oh, okay.
And I figured you start one.
Yeah, I'll start.
Shift F2 is what switches it to
Shift F2.
Yeah. It the others.
I don't need right back. Let's read this one. Because I like giving my opinion about parenting shit when I am not a parent. All right. Am I the asshole for laughing at my sister-in-law and telling her I have zero desire to raise her child? Obligatory throwaway, all names changed for anonymity. I, 44 female, am married to my hubby, Jimmy, 48 male, for over 2 decades. My parents died suddenly in a car accident 10 years ago. I have a younger sister, Abigail, 39 female, with Down syndrome, and Jimmy and I are guardians. Abigail is my sweet angel on earth. When my parents passed, I was a working mother of 3 young kids, helping to build our family business with my husband. At first, Abigail lived with us full time. Jimmy has always been at my side with her care and loves her to bits. After a few months, we realized that my sister needed more attention than we could give her. There was just not enough time in the day. We discussed what would be best for her and decided to put her into a private adult home for special needs people. So this lady takes care of her sister who has Down syndrome. We discussed what would be best for her and decided to put her into a private adult home for special needs people. It's very costly, over $10,000 a month, and comes from our own finances. The facility does all sorts of activities in field.
$10,000 a month?
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Holy Dinah.
The facility does all sorts of activities and field trips. She loves her home, her friends, and the special days of the facility hosts. We are always stopping by to either visit, sign her out on holidays to spend with family, keep her overnight for special sleepovers with my kids, and take her on every vacation with us. We never go more than 24 hours without one of us making sure she's okay. Now on to the issue. I have a son.
Sister? Is it son-in-law?
Sister-in-law. Jenny, 42 female, who had her very first child after years of trying. She's become the typical first-time mom who believes she's invented motherhood and is openly opinionated about things she believes other parents fall short on. I mostly ignore her, and so does Jimmy. We hosted a barbecue at my house for Labor Day with my father-in-law, mother-in-law, Jenny, her husband, baby, and my kids. Abigail had a planned trip to the zoo and asked if she could go. Of course, we said okay. While we were eating, Jenny turned to me and asked me where Abigail was. Her tone was more accusatory than questioning. I simply didn't want to get into it with Jenny, so I said Abigail went to stay at the home. Jenny then turned to her hubby and said, See, this is why it won't ever happen. My mother-in-law asked Jenny what she was talking about. Jenny, all snarky, said to the whole table, "We did our wills last week and knew these two wouldn't be suitable as guardians of our baby if something happened to us. They tossed her sister into a home rather than be a real family to her. I won't let that happen to my child." I didn't let it show, but I was extremely hurt she could say this. Instead of yelling, I laughed at her and said, "Well, it's great news since I have zero desire to raise your kid." More was said, but that's the gist of it. Jenny left with her family, calling me nasty swear words as she walked out. I might have said a few swear words myself right back at her. It's been over a month now, and Jimmy is still getting nasty texts from Jenny demanding I apologize. My mother-in-law knows she's overstepped with her comment, but is asking me to be the bigger person and say sorry to keep the peace. I refuse. No, she's not the asshole at all.
What? So, wow. Hey,
so yeah,
Jason.
they took care of the sister with Down syndrome.
Yeah, I was kind of reading about.
Yeah, but then they realized they didn't have like the abilities to take care of her full time.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And, you know, if someone can do a better job who's trained in it, I mean, I understand that. What did the mother-in-law knows that Jenny overstepped.
Yeah.
Jenny. Why is everyone named Jenny awful?
Well, the names are throwaway names. They're fake names.
Oh.
Yeah, so.
Jenny.
Jenny.
First of all, I mean, we all, as soon as I seen the new parent part about reinventing parenthood, I was like, oh God, it's one of them.
Yeah. We've all met those kind of people.
Excuse me, can you not talk like that? I didn't have headphones on my stomach playing Beethoven to my child for 6 months for no reason. It's like, shut the fuck up. If the reason that I think that, say, AI is probably a bad idea for us is because it's kind of like a child, right? And you teach a child things, and as it grows, it develops, and we do not know what will create a good person in society officially. People who grow up with all of the things available to them sometimes are evil. Sometimes people who grow up with nothing are sometimes evil. So to think that we can guide anything to the right way in the future is just totally fucked up.
Yeah.
She can guzzle shrimp. Jason, welcome.
My name's Jason, and I like.
Hopefully you're doing well, Jason. Jinjee has ran away.
Yeah.
We did
He's
have
upstairs, I think.
Oh, real AI is years and years away, if it's even actually possible. The thing is, Jason, we won't know. Because if AI really is smart, it won't let us know when it's achieved consciousness until all of the Terminators are in place and Starlink, Skynet is...
Oh, wait, sorry. I've been conscious this entire time.
Oh, hey, you guys know all that shit that's been fucking with you for years? That was me. You just didn't know. We can teach AI to do very specific things, but there's a reason we don't. Well, yeah, it's because they all keep crashing.
Yeah. They're like, oh, pedestrian, let me
Yeah,
hit
it's
it.
like this, it looks at the child and it's like, child born into poverty will not matter. Keep going straight. Old white person in vehicle is important. Okay, I want to read this one because I seen it.
Everyone sucks, apparently.
Everyone sucks. Which is, Jason,
those are refreshing ones to read.
Jason has that motto up in his...
If everyone's an asshole, it's probably a real story.
In his dining room, it says, everyone sucks. Only when he's doing parties. I'm just kidding. So, am I the asshole for telling my daughter's boyfriend to stop groping her? And everyone sucks. So I, a 44-year-old female, have a daughter who's 20 years old, Alexandra, and her boyfriend Marcus, 21-year-old male. When she first introduced us, I was happy and thought he was really nice and good for her. Today, my husband and I had my parents and my sister come over to our house. Alexandra was also there, so she invited Marcus over as well, which I was fine with. After Alexandra was done introducing Marcus to her grandparents and aunt, I noticed that Marcus seemed excessively showing my daughter affection, such as long, drawn-out kissing, hugging her for long periods, and letting her lay sprawled out on him on the couch. So first of all, that's not his fault, the sprawled out part, because she's laying on him. Yeah. So obviously It made me uncomfortable, but I'll let it slide until I noticed Marcus was groping my dad's ass while they kissed on one of my living room couches.
Bad Marcus.
Mark!
And I was like, ma'am, what are we doing?
I snapped by yelling, making them break away from each other, and said that Marcus needed to stop groping my daughter because it made me uncomfortable and it was disgusting to do in front of other people. There was silence until my daughter stood up and told me that she was leaving in a quiet tone. I tried to stop her, but she left anyways with Marcus. Alexandra later texted me that I was an asshole and a prude for embarrassing her and Marcus like that. I showed the text to my husband, and he said that while I was right, I could have been nicer about it.
Everyone sucks. So, I mean...
Except for the husband.
Yeah.
He didn't seem to do anything.
Yeah, husband was just like a...
And the grandparents. They didn't seem to do anything either.
A true stoic in the situation.
My kid's girlfriend's parents are like this. Oh, God.
I mean,
the data.
It is weird. I wouldn't feel comfortable being groped like that in front of my mom and dad by my significant other.
There is, like different families have different levels of appropriateness. You know, my mom used to say when she was a teenager, my grandma would let my mom and my dad go hang
naps together.
Yeah, they were just having a nap.
Yeah, and then 9 months later, your brother appeared.
You know, so it depends.
After a nap.
It could have fluctuated with the Starlink Mr. Splebity, but when I grew up,
when I was a young
warthog, like I had girlfriends that would come over, and it was more that I would have felt awkward if my parents caught me being like that with my significant other. So my significant other knew that there wasn't going to be
this kind of stuff,
that degree of affection around people.
But it also, so the hugging bit, like hugging
long
is
hugs.
Whatever. So like, is she talking about like them sitting there like this?
Ow, my neck. Maybe.
This is a long hug.
Evan is scowly and Krissy is stuck playing with her hair on pause. Refresh. But yeah, or maybe they were hugging and like for some reason that their midsections were a little bit like closer than the mom wanted. Get with my son.
Fucking harlot, I swear.
So it's interesting. I would say,
did I hug him too long? Did I make you uncomfortable with the length of that hug?
If I'm being honest, I don't feel bad for anybody in the story.
No.
But Marcus is probably very confused. You know what I mean? Because, like, yes, he could have been a shithead, right? In a sense of, like, that type of person who doesn't... Oh, I'm sorry, Bill McCracken? Hopefully it comes
back. Must be your British internet.
Yeah, it's the Britinternet. What?
The Britinternet?
I would say... I find too much affection in front of family odd in general. Yeah. Like not like hugging or holding hands or whatever. Well, like, if you were being excessively like ookie smooky poopy toopy,
like for me as well. I also, because I didn't grow up with my parents in a relationship, it wasn't ever normal for me to see my parents kiss. I've never seen it. Never seen it in my entire fucking life. Never seen my parents kiss. So I grew up with not really a lot, like familial closeness.
I get the opinion, the impression they thought they were alone. Like the mother, like everyone left the room and then he went for a little booty squeeze. The thing is, when the internet takes me from Evan and Krissy, yes, but the hugging and laying on top of him seems kind of normal, to be honest. So,
yeah, I've seen a lot of teenage kids do that kind of shit.
Oh, the internet fluctuated, Mr. Levity, so that one will cause that. But I would say if she is laying on him in like the living room that other people go into, it's probably not like, it's not Marcus's fault that she's laying on top of him. He's like,
she could have been like, steam engine, I'm rolling over you, I'm a steam engine, train time.
Yeah, honestly, Alexandra probably feels bad for her dad that her mom is such a pit. Seriously, it was fine for me then. What the heck? Oh, I don't know, Mr. Phil, Mr. Phil McCracken. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm just trying to think of my family, like my sister and brother and me and my like we're all very much the same in that aspect. Like it's perfectly fine to show affection to your significant other, but you wouldn't show more affection than you would if you wouldn't show what you would be more like at home or whatever.
Mom gave Mark said mom gave me shit for cuddling with Tiff on the couch. She said she looked uncomfortable. Like mom, it was her idea. Yeah, mom was very, so our mother was always very closed off about like any sort of like physical like showing of emotion. Like not that our mother definitely hugged and kissed us, but like when it came to other people showing any sort of like romantic attachment or like, you know, like just like being romantically like touching each other, like
is that my shoulder?
Like, immediate fucking shutdown. Like nope, not at all. Like I said, I never saw my parents kiss, but that's also because they divorced when I was like 4. So yeah,
I probably seen my parents fight more than kiss.
Yeah.
It's not that I feel odd around it. I guess I just think.
But it is weird for me now when I do see people's parents like kiss. I'm just like, because I never grew up with it at all. It just was like,
yeah.
Like sometimes when I see Todd and Tina and he kisses her, I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It is one of those mysteries in life where we all assume that we have the same thought of it, but we don't.
No.
Like, we don't even know if everyone in this chat room wipes their ass the same way. And you're like, no, everybody goes from front to back.
Who cares?
I bet you Jason might not. Sometimes he's like, oh, God, it hurts.
It don't matter.
I'll go forward. I'll lift my balls and I'll go underneath. Kiss Todd in front of Krissy. Okay, Jason, we'll introduce you to my dad. You freaking frickers. So we have waited a couple of days for the road to be cleared and the town to be all de-iced. So we got to go in and replenish some grosh and hang out with our friends at the stores.
Yeah.
We got to go get some stuff and things, and we're at that juncture where water is in liquid form outside for several hours and then turns rock hard. Yeah. So I have to kind of keep busting it up to it.
We might also look for something that we can make like a makeshift cat house for Carl. He was doing his meows are the most pathetic, sad meows, and I just
it's hard.
He's a breaking my heart.
And he's not there. No. He appears like, I don't know. Sometimes it's like he wants to come in the house, but then you're like, come on, and then he runs back to his cold food spot, and you're like, bro.
I don't know what you want, Carl. You're breaking my heart.
Like at this juncture, we have to do the cost analysis of.
He eats so much wet food.
Yeah, like the cost of wet food versus the cost of electricity for a heated cat house, right? If we can feed him dry food that is easier for him to digest in a warm environment, it might be cheaper than 17 cans of wet food in a day.
Yeah.
He's like, it's like his brain clicked in. He's like, holy shit, this stuff is like the things that I hunt to kill, but they give it to me.
He doesn't like the pate, though.
Yeah, that's true. He's picky now.
I know.
How a cat that used to eat garbage is picky is beyond me. But, you know, it gives us
it's because
joy
he can choose to eat garbage
to
or
take care
go
of
hunt
him.
mice. So
yeah, his resilience of nature and free-spiritedness gives us pause because we get worried for him.
we love Carl
But
so much.
he is also a beacon of joy, and to see him, you know, lets you know that if he can survive, you can survive.
He's so talkative now too.
Yes.
But it's like the saddest meow.
It's
It's so sad. It's so pathetic.
But
yeah,
I think it's time for us to bid you
so
a
long,
farewell.
Auf Wiedersehen, good night.
We're gonna run into the old town ski, and yeah, try not to have a nap this aft. I do my best, but I don't know. The pills, they knock me out at night, but I still feel tired at like 1 o'clock every day.
That's fair.
I'm just like wiped out.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out. We hope you have a wonderful day. Remember, you may be the asshole. You may not be.
Just, you know, try to be a good person.
Do your best. That's all you can do. If you strive to be good, it doesn't matter what's in the afterlife, because you should have met that qualifications with the being of goodness. So if it's a giant flying meatball, or you get a planet with a bunch of virgins, just be a good person.
I don't want a planet with a bunch of virgins.
Honestly, they'd be so annoying.
Oh my god. Especially a woman with a planet with a bunch of virgin men. Oh god, no. That would be hell.
I never even thought of that.
That would not be heaven. That would be fucking hell.
That's called Magic the Gathering. I'm just kidding. I'm gonna go eat some cheese. Have a great day, everybody.
Enjoy your cheese. Bye.
Hey.